President Biden is scheduled to visit a Ford electric vehicle facility in Michigan today, where he'll spotlight his $2.3 trillion infrastructure plan. The package includes $174 billion in proposed funding for electric vehicles, the single largest item in the plan's transportation section. Today, we also expect Senate Republicans to deliver their counteroffer to Biden's sweeping infrastructure package. A group of GOP senators is scheduled to meet with administration officials, including Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg and Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo, as the two sides continue negotiations. Joining us now, EPA Administrator Michael Regan. It's very good to have you on the show. Let's talk about getting the country transitioned to electric vehicles. How realistic is it, and what would the timeline look like?
You know, it's very realistic. Thank you for having me this morning. It's really realistic. I mean, the market is telling us it's realistic. Ford and other major auto manufacturers are already shifting and making this shift very quickly. And so the president is touting the American Jobs Plan. It's a great plan, and he'll be focused on electric vehicles and the electric vehicle market. The American market share for electric vehicles is 1/3 of China's. We know that the competition is there. We know the opportunities are there, and we're excited about this plan.
Mr. Administrator, it's Casey Hunt. One of the big pieces of making electric vehicles work broadly are the batteries that power them. And there's something of an arms race going on among countries to build these factories, to find the components for the batteries. Where is the U.S. in that race? And are we prepared to be able to provide that kind of technology to our companies here at home as they try to compete with foreign automakers who may be ahead of us?
You know, that's one of the great things about the American Jobs Plan. It ensures that we are competitive. $174 billion investment in the EV market is what the president is calling for. And he's calling for that level of investment for that very reason that you just posed that question, which is ensuring that we can have 500,000 electric vehicle charging stations across this country so that people don't have range anxiety. 50,000 diesel truck conversion, 20% of our yellow school buses converted. But more importantly, ensuring that we have the investments going into retooling our factories so that these jobs stay here domestically. Those are very important components of this American Jobs Plan, and it's a public-private partnership to ensure that we're able to be globally competitive.
Sure. I mean, yeah, I completely understand that in terms of making sure there are places where people can take the cars. But again, the battery question, I mean, this is one where some of our foreign competitors, Germany, Volkswagen, for example, you've seen them make major investments there. Is the president and the administration going to try to do anything to help our automakers compete in that market? Because you have seen some elements of that coming from other countries.
We are. I think when you look at what the president is calling for in this $174 billion investment, it's to help shore up the framework so that our automobile industry is competitive. And listen, our automobile industry is very competitive. Ford, GM, others, they've already announced that electric vehicles are the future, and they're trending in that direction. So what we can do is ensure that we have the proper infrastructure in place to handle this new emerging market. But we also want to be sure that as we're looking at retooling the factories, investing in the supply chain, and looking at the minerals and all of the details that go into this, that we're supporting the automobiles industry for a future vision of electric vehicles. And I think what you're seeing with the American Jobs Plan is that public-private partnership to ensure that we're remaining globally competitive.
Michael, it's Willie Geist. Good to have you on this morning. As you know, when auto workers hear about electric vehicles, they worry about their jobs. And we've heard that from the head of the UAW just in the last few weeks. They say this step forward, and they hear a date certain that we're going to go electric. They worry that that means fewer jobs for them. How do you answer those concerns?
we're answering those concerns directly by having the conversations with the unions. I'm having the conversations with the unions directly about what we're proposing in terms of emission standards, and the administration is having conversations directly with the unions about the investments of the American Jobs Plan. And the reason we're so laser focused is because we want to be sure that as we focus on the urgency of climate change and the need to reduce emissions, and as we focus on remaining globally competitive with China to tackle the EV market, we want to have the infrastructure here domestically with the EV charging stations, with the factories. We want to be sure that we keep these jobs domestically located. And so we're focused on that. We're having the conversations with the unions, and I think they're really good, productive conversations on how we keep the jobs and how we remain globally competitive.
EPA Administrator Michael Regan, thank you very much for being on the show this morning.
Hey, thanks so much for watching our YouTube channel. You can follow up on today's top stories and breaking news, or catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.